Welcome back, guys. Harry here, known as Tradesharpe, and in today's video we're gonna talk about fundamentals. Now, fundamentals was an interesting topic for me because when I first started trading, I really disregarded it. I thought, it doesn't matter. I'm trading a 15-minute time frame. Why do I need to complicate myself with looking at fundamentals and stuff like that? But as I got more advanced into the market, I'm always a person who asks questions and say, okay, why does this move happen? And I started to get confused in the market because I wasn't understanding why we would see things. And when I dove into finding out why they happen and how fundamentals impact this and how moves on the chart might be fundamentally caused to give us opportunity. So with that being said, I'm going to talk exactly the basics here and talk about how do you understand the news and how to know a bit of economics, because at the end of the day, fundamental is economics. So if that sounds interesting, definitely advise you to watch this full video. I really do hope you guys enjoy it. With that being said, let's get into the main juicy part of the video. So let's cut to that. So guys, you know the drill. If you haven't already, can we just do the YouTube business? Leaving a like on the video really does help the channel. It gets it out to more people who can benefit from content that I just share my experiences with, and I really think that could be positive. If you do end up enjoying the content, leave a subscribe, and I read all your comments, would like to see it. All my official links are in the description. Do not fall for any other links that someone might send you. That's probably not me. And just a quick update, I've been getting questions asking me about the exclusive group and if it's open because people wanted to get in to prepare. Yes, it is open. I have open spots, and that's just a quick update. So if you want to have a look at the exclusive community, you can check the link in the description. And yeah, I will close spots up as always once it fills. So yeah, you can check the link out in the description now. So all of that shilling out of the way, let's get into the juicy stuff, which is going to be talking about fundamentals in trading. So let's get into it. All right, so before we flip to the charts and talk about stuff, you have to understand how fundamentals work. So fundamentals work based on what pair are you trading. You have to understand what is their role in this world. If you're trading gold, what is the role of gold? Right? What does it do? Is it a hedge against inflation? Yes. Is it a safe haven? Yes. These are all fundamental things that you have to understand. Same thing with something like the yen, right? If we look at the yen, it acts a lot like gold, and that is all going to impact what you're trading. And if you don't understand what could potentially cause that, then you can be a little bit lost. So as you guys may know, I trade GBP JPY, and if you don't know that the yen is a safe haven and running negative interest rates, and their currency is extremely weak versus the dollar, because their negative interest rates while the rest of the world is like 5.5 plus 5.5%, they have these surprise interventions where they randomly will intervene and buy up yen to temporarily increase its strength. And if you don't know when price is at certain levels where you have a threat of this, that could catch you out and you could be in a lot of deep shit, right? So that's exactly what you want to avoid. And yeah, let's get to the charts and have a look at how I analyze news, what I prepare for the week, and how I'm going to see, okay, what's next and what I do with that. So that being said, get to the charts and let's go talk about that. So we're here on the charts. If I was to make a detailed video about exactly every single news event, that's a little bit complicated. That would take like a 40-minute video to talk about every single news event and what it means for the economy, because realistically as well, every single time news events change, right? So what I basically do is I have an economic calendar here and I look at basically what's going on during the week. So let's take it like, let's look at 1 week worth of information here and see how you can use that for yourself and how that can fundamentally affect your pairs. So if you're trading, for example, me, GJ and gold, I know that USD news and JPY news and pound news is going to be important for me here. So first news we have here is claim and count change. So you go ahead and you find out what does that mean. And basically, I'm not going to show you, you can click on it and this is unemployment. So if more people are claiming unemployment in the country, that this could initially be taken negatively into the market. But at the end of the day, it's not drastically different and is an improvement from the previous data set. So always look at it, in comparison to the previous data set here, right? And what people fail to understand is that if we see this as a negative, people are like, oh, it's not come out as forecast. Remember, this is a forecast. You have to compare it to what the previous was, which is very, very important, right? But the big news here on this week was like, let's say CPI. CPI is Consumer Price Index, which basically means inflation in the country on a consumer level. So inflation to people like you and me. And that is huge because the Fed, and you have to understand, read go ahead, read, check the news, stuff like that. Just keep updated, right? You can easily check the news, what's going on. You can click news here. This website's called forexfactory.com. You can just see what's going on here, you know, yen and all of this stuff. And, you know, you just need to read it once a week, just understand what's going on in the market. The Fed is trying to get to a 2% inflation rate and have been successful in it coming down, right? And with their aggressive rate hikes, you also have to understand that they're running 5.25% rate hike, interest rates here, which hopefully should be bringing inflation down. And they said we have no need to increase interest rates one more time if this is going to continue the downward momentum, but they said we're not scared to. So this data set here was super important, right? It was super important to see what this comes out as, because if we see, right, if we see this come out better than expected, we know that inflation is going lower and there's less of a likelihood that we're going to see future interest rate hikes, which is weaker for the dollar. So guess what you're going to see as a reaction is you're going to see gold move up, right? You're going to see gold move up, right? The reason you're going to see gold move up is because of that whole idea that what this is, inflation is going down, so they don't need to increase interest rates, right? That's why you see gold go up. And then you have to understand, you know, okay, you can use that information to be like, if that's the case, these pullbacks here where everyone tries to short price, right? You know, hey, be careful with this pullback here. This pullback might not be what you're looking for, right? Then pair that with technicals. Look where this pullback came. We analyzed if anything's leaving this support right here. Let's go to a clean chart. If anything's leaving this support right here, right? If we have price leaving this support, and if we respect it, we're okay for upside. We're okay for upside because this is leaving our last structural point. So people trying to short in this 4-hour zone here and say, okay, I'm going to short price towards the downside, be very, very careful, because they don't fundamentally understand that, hey, this could be, you know, technicals number one, what does the chart tell you? And fundamentally, with understanding that, hey, we might see some dollar weakness and that dollars could come into gold here. We have bullish movement, so you know that if support is created here, which is technical, you can look for trades. And it's just to have that in the back of your mind. It supports your idea. You understand why you're seeing this rally. Similar thing here, if we go and we look the same thing, we had GBP inflation, right? GBP inflation data also did come out, which was here, 4.6 from 6.7. That's huge. That's big improvement in the side of for the pound. And people are like, that has to be positive for the pound. No, it's positive for the economy, but people are going to sell off the pound when they realize that, hey, this is actually something we need to be careful. So it will be taken in initially as positive. So you could see a rally up on GJ, which is exactly what we saw, right? We saw a rally up, right? Which was basically, okay, can be taken in as positive. And then we see this dump, right? And then this dump comes down into the weekend once we get a small catalyst of news of unemployment here, right? We have not unemployment, retail sales, right? We see sales basically go down from last month as well, right? They expected to see an increase, but it went down. So that means, hey, economy is not performing as good as we expect. They're not going to be increasing interest rates because of the huge improvement, and that was the catalyst to start causing this move down. But then everyone starts to try sell this and doesn't realize, okay, going into next week, what is our positioning? We are still in a macro uptrend. This opportunity from the fundamental causing news, technically we're still bullish. Technically the pound is still very, very strong and the economy is doing better and the interest rates are still high. They're not reducing it. So you could see bullish pressure. So understanding just how those dynamic works could really, really improve your trading here. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about in this video, and we can go more into depth. I know it sounds a little bit complicated, but that's a little bit of basics of economics here and understanding it a little bit. I do go into depth. That's why it's good to be in a community where I can discuss during the time or show up to the live stream so we can discuss the news fundamentally, you know, about talking what each news event does, because that's more things I focus on explaining. I can go in depth, you know, where on YouTube people are not going to watch a boring news video about what each news event means and how that can impact. But just understanding that, hey, it's not going to impact your 15-minute time trades, but it's good to have an understanding of why we can see certain moves which can help you going into the next week and stuff like that. So with that being said, guys, take care, trade sharp, and hopefully catch you guys very, very soon. Peace.